everyone, this is Anna Portia, and welcome to my new series, Ever Seen.
What?
That's the name of the series. Ever Seen. Sounds pretty cool, doesn't it?
I can't tell you if I ever saw it if you don't tell me what it is we're talking about.
We're just talking about the movie we just saw. Okay? Got it?
I don't know why you have to make everything so complicated all the time.
Anyway, after my Quest for Camelot review, a not super well-known film, I thought it would be fun to have a series where I talk about movies that aren't very well known. So, today in our series, we're asking the question, ever seen The Tale of Despereaux? Before we get into the review, this film is actually based on a book of the same name that I read when I was about 14 or so, and this book is not a normal kid's book. When I read it for the first time, I thought it was insanely weird. I mean, I still do think it's weird, but I understand it a bit better now. After watching the film, I really thought, even while watching the film, I was like, they changed a lot. So I reread the book, and which I would highly recommend. It's a fast read and it's very interesting. At any rate, when I reread the book, I was like, yeah, I was right. The book and the movie do not coincide with most of the plot points. And I will be mentioning this sometimes when it really, really bugs me. But I'm going to try to focus on the film since we're not reviewing the book. So with that out of the way, let's get into it.
We are headed to Dor, one of the most magical places in the whole world.
No, that's not what you said before. You know, every place has something special. And in Dor, it's the soup!
Okay, so apparently this country has International Soup Day where everyone comes together and they eat soup. And they're all super excited about it. And oh my goodness, what is that? It looks like oh my gosh. It looks like this horrible, creepy, weird, soulless, empty Byzantine artwork. Anyway, so Roscoe, and I'm just gonna call him Remy because I thought he looked pretty much the same. So Remy sneaks into the palace, and how are those guys blowing trumpets with jousting helmets on? Oh well. So Remy falls into the queen's soup, and she has a heart attack and dies. Yeah, a bit of an intense opening.
Get me that rat! Get him!
So he gets banished to
the basement.
So the king, who is very good at making very ridiculous and unenforceable laws, decides to ban soup, rats, kettles, and spoons. Not unlike King Stefan from Sleeping Beauty, who bans all spinning wheels, which is another film I will talk about at a later date.
And from the very beginning, Despereaux Tilling heard more, saw more, and even smelled more than any of the other mice.
Okay, 2 points. 1, this narrator needs to go. A general rule of thumb for me is when you have a narrator in a film, it just means you're too lazy to actually show what's happening with the characters, and instead just opted to have an easy route of having some omnipresent being who tells the audience everything. Although if done properly, it can work. Another thing that I was really about was just Despereaux himself. He looks just I think he should have been way cuter. He also should have sounded younger. His voice seemed really off to me.
It's beautiful.
Actually, come to think of it, all the mice kind of looked weird. I think they should have had a different character design for the mice, but obviously not one of the strong points of the film. And now we're introduced to Rat World. Okay, before I go into any negativity, I think Rat World actually has a somewhat interesting aesthetic. It kind of has this barbarian feel with the bone structures and everything, but I don't like how it's introduced in full force so soon. It kind of ruins the mystery of everything since the audience is now fully aware of what exactly is going to meet Despereaux when he inevitably gets thrown into the basement. So it kind of ruins the mystery a bit.
You're not eating.
You miss something, don't you?
No, I don't.
There's nothing up there, Roscoe.
Oh, no, I know that. Absolutely.
So after we're shown what's going on with Remy, we go back with Despereaux, who's about to cause some upheaval in Mouse World. So at school, the teacher's all just you are not cowardly enough because you draw cats and name them Fluffy! So they must take Despereaux measures.
I hope you don't think that joke was good.
Hey, that was super funny.
Well, I happen to be the king of jokes around here, and I proclaim that that was not funny at all.
That's just because you didn't say it. If you said it, you'd be rolling on the floor in laughter.
Actually, I happen to think that Parmesan chicken is better.
What's that have to do with anything? First of all, it's chicken parmesan. Second of all, like, that makes no sense in this context.
No, it makes dollars!
I walked right into that. Anyway, so Despereaux and his brother go to the library, and Despereaux discovers a fairy tale book.
You're not supposed to read it, Despereaux. You're supposed to eat it. I'll come back in an hour. And no reading. It's a rule.
That was some of the strangest line delivery I've ever heard. Like, it's a rule. What even was that? But anyway, so since Despereaux reads this fairy tale, he decides that he's gonna be a knight, like save princesses and everything. Also, as a side note, I would like to say I do actually kind of like how they did the storyboard thing, or not storyboard, how they did like the fairy tale thing. Like it looks sort of like papery and stuff. It's kind of interesting looking, and it kind of looks a little bit cross between like papery stuff and like an art style, like a medieval-esque art style, which works better in the 2-dimensional look as opposed to the 3-dimensional look, because as I mentioned before, they kind of had like the Byzantine art style for like the princess and stuff, but in the 3D it comes off really weird looking, but I thought it was interesting. So then when he finds the princess, he's very excited about talking to her.
Are you a rat?
No, I am a gentleman.
And how do you do?
And this pushes his family to turn him into the Mouse Council, and they banish him to the dungeon. But, uh-oh, he gets kidnapped by the rats and put in a gladiator ring. But fortunately, Remy decided to take a day off from cooking today, and he claims Despereaux as his prize to like eat. It's like Pocahontas and John Smith, but like he's gonna eat him instead of save him, kind of thing. So now these two become friends, and Despereaux tells Remy about being like a hero and everything to make a decision, which well it doesn't go well. The princess is just kind of like,
Get out!
I am sorry.
oh yes, we also should introduce Migriso, who is the princess's like lady-in-waiting person, and she really wants to be a princess because she used to be like a peasant. Well, I mean, she's still a peasant, but she used to be like a farming peasant. So I want you to take a wild guess, just a wild guess, at what Remy decides to do. Does he A, stick to the honor and truth that Despereaux just taught him? B, get mad but ultimately see that he needs to work through things himself, because sometimes you can't reconcile, so you have to reconcile within yourself? Or C, become an evil psychopath who turns to the dark side and kidnaps the princess so she can be eaten alive by rats? If you guys C, congratulations. For indeed, somebody decided a princess being eaten alive is a wholesome thing to have in a children's movie. Because, to be clear, the princess being digested alive by rats is not how it went down in the book. Also, the book Migriso literally gets, her father literally sells her to some random guy for a red blanket and some, like, cigarettes or something. Whereas in this, he just gives her away and he's sad about it because he can't support her anymore. So they kind of, like, while they did add, like, someone getting eaten alive by rats, they kind of, like, got rid of some other things. It's kind of weird. But, okay, so now, remember that Migriso we were just talking about a little bit ago? So, since she wants to be a princess, Remy convinces her to kidnap the princess so then she can trade places with her.
You see, there was a tiny flaw in the plan.
And of course, this flaw is the fact that I find it a little bit unbelievable that the guards wouldn't notice a kitchen girl creeping around the castle with a meat cleaver. But, okay, I guess we're not talking about that.
The honor is all yours.
Okay, remember when we said that grief was the strongest thing a person could feel? Well, it isn't. It's forgiveness. Because a single act of forgiveness can change everything.
No!
So, Despereaux gets out of the dungeon to warn the king that his daughter is about to be digested by thousands of rats, and Remy helps Despereaux rescue the princess by turning into Dumbo. That is, Despereaux turns into Dumbo, and he flies around the king, but that doesn't actually do anything because the king's too busy playing his lute or whatever. So then he goes back to rescue the princess, and then Remy helps him, and then they both save the day, and everyone lives happily ever after. Oh yeah, and Mikuriso finds her dad, who is the jailer in this movie, and then everybody lives happily ever after. After the princess forgives her. Then everyone lives happily ever after. So, in conclusion, this movie was not good. I felt like it kind of missed most of the point of the book. And it just wasn't as interesting. It kind of just was like, eh. And I didn't like the animation style, and yeah, so it just wasn't the greatest. So, now that I gave my brief opinions on this, I'll let Wizard take it away.
So once upon a time, there was a mouse named Dumbo because he had giant ears and he could fly like Dumbo for some reason. And then he decides that he's going to be a knight. And then he goes and tries to rescue princesses, but he's too stupid to actually do it. And there's an evil mousy rat guy who looks like an idiot, because everyone looks like an idiot in this. And then he decides to kidnap the princess and have her eaten alive by other rats. But then he decides that he shouldn't be mean, and then he lets her go, and then they all save the princess, and then everybody eats soup.
That was your review?
Yeah.
Okay, well, alright. That was kind of short.
Quiet! I haven't gotten to the rating yet. So I will give this movie on the level of Stinkometer. It goes to, drumroll please. 1 star. And that is my conclusion for this film.
Okay, thank you, Wizard. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like and subscribe. And have an awesome rest of your day.